The House of Representatives has rejected a bill that sought to make it mandatory for presidential and governorship candidates to secure more than 50% of the total votes cast to be declared winners. The bill, sponsored by Awaji Inombeka Biante, a PDP lawmaker from Rivers State, aimed to amend the 1999 Constitution by removing the simple majority rule for presidential and governorship candidates. Abiante's proposals sought to amend sections 134 and 179 of the Constitution, which provide the conditions to be elected president and governors. Our Rise News analyst Dayo Sobowale joins us to share his perspective on the discarded bill and the need for more confidence-building measures in the Nigerian electoral system. Good afternoon. Always great to have you on the program, Mr. Sobowale.
It's a pleasure.
Good to see you. Let's dig in. Mr. Sobowale, when you look at the results from the most recent elections, just a quick breeze through, you'll find that only a minority of candidates were able to secure more than 50% of votes to be elected. Do you think this bill being thrown out is a positive development, or do you think this is a discussion we need to open up?
It's a problem. The bill being thrown out, I mean, that is a pragmatic development. I agree with it. Because, you know, you have to think in the context of our own political system. And the fact that we just went through an election, the result of the election showed that the winner had 36%, second had 29%, third 25%, the last 6%. Fair distribution. It's like allocation of votes. But then, you see, if there are two people now, you can strictly talk of 50%. But, you know, he has to be an immensely popular candidate in Nigeria for an election involving 4 people to have 51%. I don't think it's ever likely, given our multi-ethnicity and our diversity. A particularly popular person may emerge, but I don't see that in sight, given the economic background to our political participation and our elections. So in a way, I think the House they didn't want to waste their time. But you see, what we need to focus on is election security and election integrity. In an era of artificial intelligence and emerging technologies. All over the world, it's not only here. And even I'm not too sure about us. You know how we went at each other during the campaigns? How we went at each other during the court cases? And you remember the role the social media played? Say there's freedom of expression, but it was so vitriolic. So vitriolic. Thank God we survived everything. And we are still in one piece. Not many nations can say that. For example, you see what is going on in Senegal now. The president there is trying to change the goalpost, trying not to leave. And that's just part of what caused the problem in ECOWAS. You have military takeover. If they come in, it's because of lack of good governance. That's the only protection for democracy. And the army boys are saying, why is it that only when we intervene that will bring sanctions, where people do the sort of thing that Sally is doing in the Senegal? Now nobody talks, nobody's talking now, nobody's sanctioning them. That was what brought the army in Guinea, because the professor there wanted to extend his tenure, and the boy said no, and drove him out. So what is important is electoral integrity, so that we sanitize our system. Make sure that the votes are counted, that is one, and the votes mean what they say, and nobody rigs. Because before, I thought rigging was our own monopoly in this part of the world. But you can see what Donald Trump has done to the American process. They've taken him to court. But what he did, it's not insurrection, as far as I'm concerned, but what he did is to manipulate the system. They have finished voting. You get to know, but the electoral votes, they have a particular date, which is February 6th, that they have to count it. You get me? He doubted the integrity of the election. So he thought he could manipulate his own vice president from the same party. So you see, the states will bring their votes allocated to them by this, the result of the election. So he thought he could manipulate it so that some states will say, no, we change our electoral vote to favor him. That's electoral manipulation. That's part of what we call election integrity. That is on one side. The other one that is even more dangerous is election security. The one I mentioned about artificial intelligence. That one is an ideological battle going on between the one-party states of the world and Western Europe. And you see, it is a fierce one because it starts on the currents of cultural differences and hatred. You get me? Based on sex, marriage, and things like that. So the idea, according to what some people say, is that these one-party states, you can mention them, Russia, China, again, Iran, which is a religious state. See, they want to discredit the the first past the system polling style that we have, people have all over the world. Some people have the plural system, but they want to do it in such a way that they will throw doubt on the integrity of the election. You see, it's either they use a computerized means, you get me, to change data or intersect the procedure so that people will have doubt and people will be disputing the election. So that at the end of the day, there are so many doubts. People lack confidence in the results. I know when people lack confidence in the results, it turns to violence. But we are lucky, we have a lengthy legal process to the Supreme Court, and we survived it. But in other places, they don't have that patience or that process. They go at each other's throat. And then there is political instability. So what is crucial is for us to sanitize our system, make it more robust than before. Although our INEC has come out with its report on the election that it is satisfied with the way it is, you don't expect it to say anything else. It must beat its chest because it's the regulator. And we have seen things through. But then, between now and the next election, we need to put our house in order. Yeah. Because this INEC has a credibility crisis with people. Whether it is real or not, I cannot really say, given the sort of IT manipulation that is going on. I'm not too sure that some people are not playing us against each other at a level we have never seen before. But hopefully, we shall survive it.
Yes. Talking about putting our house in order, if you reflect on the case of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu in the 2023 presidential elections, where he secured the victory without obtaining the majority of the total votes cast. If you could, what alternative? I mean, you've spoken about different ones, but what should be the priority when it comes to, alternative measures or reforms that should be implemented in enhancing the confidence in the electoral process and ensuring that the electoral outcomes reflect the will of majority of the voters?
What do you mean by majority? What do you mean by majority? I just told you the percentage of votes now. Yes. 36, 25. Yes, that is the will of the voters.
Yes.
So how do you want to change that?
No, I'm talking about outside of this bill has already been turned down. Yes. Now I'm talking about in the future. What can we do to make sure that we don't have that kind of back and forth or that kind of process where there's that the implementation of the fact that the confidence in the electoral process in itself is secure?
People have confidence. If the next time around, they will vote. Our process played out. After the election, people went to the court. And the system, what else are we supposed to do? What the bill was about is that somebody was winning 50%. That was what the first thing I first of all elaborated on. That it must be a mightily popular person in this country among such heavy people. There are many people that contested for different. But I've just mentioned the first four. And we all know those first four. I don't see any of them in any election getting 50% because of the diversity of our political system. That's what I said. And that's what the question is still asking.
Mr. Sobowale, you know, one of the big conversations in the past election was, of course, around the percentage required in each state. Of course, it wasn't so much about the percentage, it was about FCTs, FCT a state, and the wording of the...
That was beautifully resolved at the Supreme Court.
It was beautifully resolved. But my question...
I love the judgment.
No, the judgment stands and we respect that. We absolutely respect that. My question is, looking at this 25% quota from the states as required, is that something we should possibly tinker with? Because again, you do see a situation where there's still a lot of discord because of the multicultural nature of this country, because of the diverse nature of this country. There's still some groups who feel marginalized. So do you think we need to up the state quotas required to pass the mark?
Given what you have said, you should have said they should lower it.
We should ignore it.
No, you should have said they should lower it from 25 down. Okay. But then, you see, the aim or motive is to ensure that no flyweight, in terms of voter strength, becomes president of Nigeria. Do you get it now? That was what people used against Obi. You get it that? In how many states did he even campaign? The same thing in Kwakwanso, one in Kano. But you see, the thinking of the founding fathers is that you must go round. So you have unity in diversity. Together, when we are one, we are greater. But that's the idea. So you cannot just come from one section of the country. Unless, like I said before, you have mighty charisma, so that people will just throw their weight. It is not impossible. Perón did it in Argentina. There are people who are... Gandhi was marvelous. People were totally for it. Even this Tsar in Senegal, he's a Christian. You get me? He became president now in a largely Muslim country. But you see, all these things are to check our federalism and features, a multi-ethnicity, so that nobody is left out. Nobody is left out. It's difficult to, see, people found it difficult to get 25%. You get me? In 2/3 of the states of the federation. You have to be a nationalist. You must be sleeping in the north, sleeping in the east, flying. To do it, it's not easy. So, instead of you thinking of...
I think we should raise it to 50% in each state.
No, nobody will have that spread. Yeah. I think they should lower it. If you must come to that. I think it is all right as it is, but if you get more participation, even now, see the number of people who voted, overall, 90 out of those registered, see how many voted? There's voter party locking there. Because some people have lost interest in the political system. That they get nothing from it. So why should they go and vote? That is there. And distrust of the electoral process itself. Definitely.